Good Lord. Okay. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler's WPblab, episode number 114. Tonight, we're going to be talking about cold calling the WordPress way. And if you noticed, that this particular show shows a graphic, the featured image for this particular episode is a guy in the blizzard holding a cell phone. A little part of me who lives in Southern California really wishes it would snow here, and I don't want to full on crazy snow. Like I don't want like northeastern or northeaster, whatever it is. They always say it. That's not the whole word.
Nor'easter.
Yeah, nor'easter. Yeah, I don't want any of that. I mean, it'd be like a southwester, which just sounds like it's a flight. So, but yeah. But I wouldn't mind a little bit of snow. So that's why I thought I'd post that on there. And, it always cracks me up when I go buy like Christmas cards or something and you look at it and it's snow and you're like, I'm literally standing in this grocery store in flip-flops and a t-shirt. And I could be walking around with pina colada right now and it would be, it's nothing. I just don't get it. Yeah, nor'easter. Sorry. Yeah. So anyhow, let's get this show on the road here. I called Bridget. We didn't cold call. This is a little bit of a warm call here, but Bridget, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Bridget Willard. I am a social media marketer, and I also consult on social media strategy, especially for WordPress clients who want to grow their branding. You can find out more at bridgetwillard.com.
Awesome. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over on Twitter at Jason Tucker. My website's jasontucker.blog, and I do this show as well as another show called WPwatercooler. It's the name of the network. It's kind of like the the album is also the song title kind of thing. And yeah, I've been doing that show for almost 6 years now. And Yay! Bridget, we did this show for how many years now?
3 years.
3 years. Crazy.
Isn't it weird? Like so much has happened in 3 years.
Yeah.
When I started on the show, I was just a person who was in construction, doing accounting and social media just for fun.
Now you're still doing it for fun, but people pay you to do it. There's nothing wrong with getting paid to have fun.
That's true.
Yes, to answer in the chat there, yes, we did start on blab.im, which was a thing that was around for a little while. It was weird. I've told people about Blab, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that thing." It's like, wow, you did a show. You did a show on there. It's like doing a show on chat roulette. It was really weird. Like people were just like, "What, for real? Like you did a show on that thing? How did you do that? I don't get it." And then people just got on there and did weird stuff with one another and whatever. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but people would show up and want to like talk about social media marketing, and
that
it was cool.
Maybe video from chat roulette. Roulette. So funny.
Oh my
I just want to be that guy when I grow up. He's so good at dancing, and it's been good to be back. It's good to be back in the flow.
Yeah.
It's fall. We had some things going on. Our producer Jen has been transitioning and moving and working on doing WP, and it's going great. I keep missing it because the bad part about clients, Jason. It's when you get them, sometimes you miss out on other stuff. So I'm super glad to have clients, but I need to get my third Wednesday of the month organized better. So, because I keep missing my girls, and I love Women Who WP. But I will say it's kind of cool. Amy Hall is starting one in Carlsbad.
Wow, that's
only
cool.
45 minutes south of me. So
this is Southern California for all you folks that are just tuning in right now.
Well, Huntington Beach is an hour and a half. Carlsbad is 45 minutes.
Yeah, but it's so not that for me on the way down there.
So I'm excited about.
It would be a long trip for me.
I'm excited that the things that we've done on the show have actually made an impact. Kevin Hoffman started speaking because of it. Now he's a WordCamp organizer for Pittsburgh.
That's awesome.
Actually, Robert Nissenbaum was on our show way back. I think I forgot the topic exactly, but it was about branding and commenting.
Yeah.
And now he is not only speaking at WordCamps, but he's one of the co-organizers. He's the co-lead organizer of Seattle this year.
Wow.
Right. And because of that, he met Rhonda Nygaard from Fat Dog Creatives, and she did his branding because she saw him on our show. And because they became friends, I met her last year in Seattle, and then she became one of my clients.
Jeez.
Like sometimes it feels like it's just me and Jason, and there's a chat room, and nothing else is going. We're just talking. You're drinking a craft beer. I started with coffee. Now I'm drinking a Jack and Coke. Like things have changed.
Right.
But it's still me and you. But it's not. There's a whole world of people that we're encouraging. And that's why I thought, okay, this is stuff I've tried. I've tried cold calling. Why don't we talk about it? So I thought, let's talk about this subject. Nobody likes to do it. Everybody feels slimy, like it's bad to ask for business. But what I found for myself, even for my friends, is guess what? I don't know if they're taking work. And they said to me, well, Bridget, I'd blog. I'm like, I didn't know you were taking clients. They're like, I am taking clients. I'm like, you don't say that you're taking clients. So how do you say that you're taking clients? How do you, like, it goes from like announcing on Twitter or your web page to like literally cold calling people. How do you handle that in a way that's respectful? Because in regular business, some guy will just show up to your office and be like, yeah, I'm with Cox Business. What are you using for whatever? And you're like, we're one of your clients. That just happened at the travel agency job. They came over and were like, actually, we're on your service. So he goes, oh, don't tell on me. You're like, he didn't know, right? It goes from that to you're just talking to somebody at a WordCamp, and then you remind them that you do stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, I should call you. And like, yeah, you should, but like not in an asshole way. So
yep,
good subject for
our
people.
It is a good subject because, you know, I'm the king of getting those people off the phone when they call me because they're like, "Hi, this is so and so. You know, do you use a printer over there?" I'm like, "Yeah, we have printers." They're like, "Oh, cool. Have you ever thought about getting out of your contract early?" I'm like, why? What's wrong with my printer? And they're like, nothing's wrong with your printer. I'm like, then why would I leave my existing company? Oh, I get you a way better deal. How do you know it's better? Oh, because I'm better than they are. But how do you know that you're better? Like I sit there and just kind of mess with them. And I'm like, you know, it doesn't sound like we're getting anywhere here. You have a good rest of your day. And then I just get out the phone. And then my boss looks at me and goes, whoa, what just happened there? And I'm like, this guy was trying to sell me stuff.
I like this perspective, Jason, because like, I did. When I was a secretary, it was my job to be the bouncer. Yeah. And my sister was like, just ask them what they're wearing, you know, like just try to like flip it on them. And then now that I'm doing this and I realize that this is their job.
Yeah.
It's their job.
That's why I try to get them off the phone fast, because I want them to go call somebody else up who probably will buy the thing from them. I tell them, I'm like, look, I have Google. Like I could totally find you and your competitors very easily right now. They're like, I know, but I know you have Google, but you gotta let me at least tell you something about this thing. And I was like, okay, well, what's different? Like, what's something that you can do differently? And to go back to what you were saying earlier, Bridget, it's like, how do your friends do something different than their competitors who could potentially be your friends, especially when you're working in the WordPress space? Everybody is everybody else's competitor, contractor, referrer, everything. It's all those things in one.
But that's not exactly true, because if you're doing your business right, and we know this, like Steve Zengit, Chris Lemma, everybody we know that's ever spoken outside of the WordPress business, if everyone's your client, no one's your client. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
so like, for example, Jen Miller, our friend at needsomeone2blog.com, you could have been sponsoring this section of the show, by the way. Our producer, Jen, she specializes in real estate, right? So I don't do real estate.
Right.
And I also don't do Pinterest. So I specialize in Twitter and LinkedIn. I specialize in business. I don't do retail. Now I have a couple, but I really don't even want them. They're just like friends of friends. But I usually say, look, I don't do that. And for now on, I also don't do Instagram as a standalone product. But I know people who will do Instagram, and I can refer them, right? So either it's the tool that you don't do or the industry that you don't do. Or for me, I'm monogamous with my type of client. So I have a web host. So no web host can be my client ever again, because that's the way I think. I'm all in with the way I do things. So
Right.
anyway, so like, I feel like we think that just because we're all in the WordPress space that we're all competitors, but sometimes people are more geographically based too.
Yeah, and for me, I wasn't trying to say that everybody was a competitor. I was also saying the fact that everyone can be a referral or be a recipient of a referral as well. Because for me, just like you were saying, if I know that you're not great at Pinterest, I'm not going to send clients to you for Pinterest work. I'm like, I know this person does this stuff, but just so you know, if you're trying to do this sort of thing, and that's why I usually ask people when somebody hits me up and says, "Hey, how do I do?" Like I had a humongous client hit me up one time. And it was so big that I could not take on this work. It would require me to hire all my friends and all my friends' friends and all my friends' companies in order to be able to pull this thing off. And so, what it was is I had a little bit of an insight on there. And the person's like, "Hey, would you be interested in taking on this work?" And I was like, "To be perfectly honest with you, you guys are too big for me." And they're like, "Oh, okay, well, and since we were friends, it was easy for me to say, but by the way, that doesn't mean that I don't know anybody. I know plenty of people that'd be more than happy to do this. How much work are you trying to do?" And then they dumped this monster project on me. And I was like, I would love to accept $300,000 or $400,000 from you, but I don't have $300,000 or $400,000 worth of ability to knock this out. Like, there's just no way I can pull this off with all this stuff. So let me go find you another company to work with. And I brought them in. I'm like, "Hey, talk to these guys." They probably went and hired, half of the WordPress community, and then they built the thing. I didn't have those resources to pull that off.
Right.
So for me, it was really easy to go like, okay, out of my, virtual Rolodex of people, who could I hit up and be like, "Hey, are you interested in this?" And that person was like, "Whoa, well, I'm probably got to hire some folks too, but you know what? I'm more than capable of taking this work." And I'm like, "Awesome, go do it." And I've had plenty of those types of things that come up that I'm just like, I really wish I could, but you're just a little bit too big for me, but let me see what I can do to pull this off for you. And you do, because all these people that are in this community.
Exactly. So one of the things I've done over the time last year that I've been in business for myself, which it was a year yesterday. Congratulations to me. I'm not homeless.
Yay.
Super awesome not being homeless. And also, so I would do it on LinkedIn a lot. So I would see jobs, right? And one job, it was really fun because there's this really great company called R.D. Olson. They're a commercial contractor based here in Orange County. They're in Irvine. And I thought, I'm going to take a interview with these people, right? So I said, "Really, I'd like to be your vendor." First of all, I corrected their job description, which wanted a web developer, somebody who designs in Photoshop, and a social media person, because that is not the same person. And if it is, that's like more of a unicorn than I ever knew a unicorn would be, right? So the guy in human resources says, "Well, that's the job description they gave me." And I go, "I completely understand that. I just want you to know that from my perspective as a professional, those are 3 different jobs. And maybe as you go through this process and you don't find the good candidates that you want, because there's a couple of things that people do in my industry really wrong, in my opinion. One is the salary is too dang low, like ridiculously low. You're paying $15 to do social media. You know what you're going to get? $15 social media. It's terrible. Sure. You don't go to McDonald's for a steak. So he said to me, "Well, that's really interesting, but if your business is going so well," I turned the interview into a sales call, right? If your business is going so well, why would you want to work for R.D. Olson? I'm like, "Are you kidding? I would totally give up my business or put it on the back burner to be paired with such a great brand that is great in person. Everybody knows R.D. Olson, but online they had 300 followers on Twitter, and I knew I could grow it like that because Riggins Construction still has 20,000 Twitter followers 3 years later, right? So I know that I could do it because I've done it. And I just said to him, "Good luck. Thank you for your time, and good luck with your pursuit. And I would love to help you. If you need a referral even, so you leave all those bridges open." So that was semi-warm, right? So some of the calls I've done were, they're not phone calls, they're tweets and emails and messages, right? So one of them was Libre Tequila, librespirits.com, which didn't end up going anywhere, but still I got them thinking. And I said, I really like to see your Twitter following going better because, this is a great brand, right? They had all the visuals, they had all the offline elements, right? And so like just a little bit farther would get them, but they couldn't convince everybody to spend the budget, right? But I was able to do a Twitter audit for them, so they were a client for that. And I've gone on some of the jobs that I'm offering, and I've said to them several times, I've seen this job posted for about 18 or 20 days. If you're having trouble, maybe would you consider outsourcing it, at least temporarily? Like Olakai is a great brand. I don't do retail or clothing, but they are my favorite sandals. And they're in Irvine, and they were looking for a social media manager and a marketing manager for I like 60 days or something.
Wow.
And my suspicion is the reason why is because their salary was too low. And that is a remote position. And a lot of people want you in their building, right? So sometimes it's good to just have those openings because you don't know, like, what if the HR guy from R.D. Olson leaves in a year? Because people stay at jobs for an average of 2 years. What if he leaves next year and he remembers me?
Right. Yeah, the opportunity probably wasn't there for you for that particular company he was working for, but he may hit you up for another one at some other point.
Right. And so this week I saw a great tweet from our friends at Advanced Custom Fields. And I said, what the heck? I'll just send him an email. And so Elliot asked me to send him a Twitter audit, which I did, and a proposal. So we don't know where that's going to be. But either way, I wanted them to know, like, this is an awesome plugin. About 80% of my developer friends rely on it heavily. The Twitter account should have more than 3,000 people. And right now, with what they're doing with Gutenberg, not only being compatible, but allowing them to be making custom blocks with ACF, I think it's bitching because not everybody that's a developer is a React developer.
Right.
So I think that what they're doing over there is fantastic. And for me, I don't have, what is it, a MetaBox plugin? I don't have a MetaBox plugin as a client. So it's all, but see, that's the thing. It's like, you don't know until you try. And sometimes it feels super awkward. And I don't want it to be spammy. So I just said, hey, I would love to help you out. Can we have a conversation?
Your monogamous classifications are going to get so like razor thin after a while.
Well, I have a website host. I have a
MetaBox.
I have a testing SaaS, which is staging pilot. I have a commenting plugin. And so those are my three like main WordPress clients. So
I'm just saying, you're going to run out of them and you're going to have to like start making up like, well, this one only makes it makes custom fields, but it also, lets you upload images too. I can't have an image uploading client. I can't have two of those. You're like, oh my gosh.
I know. I don't have an e-commerce or forms plugin yet. So hit me up while you can. No, but like, I just feel it for me. So some people niche out, right? Like Jen Miller niches out in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And people have asked me, why don't you just do all the hosts or all the thises or whatever? And the thing is that that's not how I work. I'm all in. And I'm always going to be thinking about a host. Right.
Well,
so
Jen Miller could do the same thing and say, I won't do competing company. Not that she does
competing territories.
She could say territories or something.
Right.
Because that makes it easy. Where web hosts, it's like, oh, what? So you're gonna be able to do one PHP web host, one, this web host, one that.
My triple host.
Oh, you host ghost sites? No problem. I can do ghost websites. Oh, Nuke PHP, huh? No problem. I could do Nuke PHP all day long. Let's do this.
I know my client base is so bizarre and niche in their own way, and I have a really high end intimate party planner too in Pasadena, like not your kid's birthday party, unless you want to spend like $20,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like that's to me, it's the self-awareness. And if the way you're cold calling fits in your brand, so remember the title is doing it the WordPress way. The WordPress way is being helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. What we all do in WordPress is give. So for example, when I did hit up a couple of those Twitter accounts, I gave them my Twitter audit for free as part of me hitting them up. Look, I know that I asked you. So here is something that I charged $275 for free. And if you think this is valuable, let's continue the conversation, right? It's not like, you know, I sent out a tweet because one of my clients is looking for sites that fail visually on Gutenberg. And so I go, hey, if you have a site that fails, hit me up. And I got, I think, 10 tweets saying, I'm a WordPress developer. I'd love to help you out. And I'm like, first of all, that's not what I said. And number two, see, that's the context is wrong. So that's the wrong way to do it. You don't want to be hit up about something that doesn't make any sense. You got to do it in a helpful way. Well, which I think is probably true in real life outside of WordPress, but definitely in WordPress, you know, or even when you're at a WordCamp and somebody says to you, oh yeah, I heard you do Twitter. I want to talk to you. I'm like, oh yeah, we should have that conversation. I would love to. Here's my Calendly link or whatever. Calendly link. I know the branding, right?
Right.
Simply schedule appointments when I finally buy that one. But you know what I mean? Like Calendly link. Because that's the thing is you want to be able to keep it open and make it should be hospitality, right? Like here is a tray of hors d'oeuvres. Would you like one? If you don't, that's fine. It's not like we're not friends. Another suggestion I have, and something I did is like say, okay, what if we did this for 3 months at this discounted rate? If you like it, we go up to the regular rate. If you don't like it, we stop. We're still friends. Like you need to make it so that it's people don't feel awkward around you because it didn't work out. It's okay for people to not match up. It's just like dating. It's okay that you don't sync. Everybody has different personalities and workflows. And if you can help each other out, that's great. If you can't, it's fine. So to me, the right way is offering some help while leaving the door open for them to decline it and still feel awesome. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense. I think for me, when it comes to the cold calling aspect of it is for me, I'm not currently looking for work. Like I have way too much on my plate to begin with. I do a couple small gigs on the side and those sorts of things. But how do you approach this problem where you have somebody who's warmed up, ready to go? Like I was saying, they have these referrals I really want to push off to somebody. How do you like send them off in the right direction? Maybe not knowing that that particular person that you're going to send them off to has time available. Like I don't want to become like this potential customer's personal assistant to be like, oh, give me one moment. Hi, Jen Miller. I was just wondering, do you by chance have time to do, $10,000 worth of work? I have this person who's very much so interested. They have a budget. They have a this and that. Like I'd become a referral service. I'd be like the, like any of these referral services that are out there. I don't want to do that. But how do I make sure that when I send somebody off to somebody else, that they're going to be placed correctly? It's almost like an adoption agency. It's like, if the dog doesn't work out, feel free to bring the dog back and then I'll replace the dog to another home. Like, how do you do that with a ridiculously warm, if not on fire referral that you're wanting to push out there?
Okay. So that happened to me this week. Cause I said, hey, I want to do some extra work. I mean, extra, cause I want to redo my living room. And so a friend that I'd worked with before said, oh, I need a press release. I go, I don't do press releases. Jen Miller does them. Here's her email. And then I texted Jen Miller and said, so-and-so is going to be coming to you, right? So to me, that, and I went, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Right. Okay. So I'm just giving you the Reader's Digest.
Right.
But basically, I don't do press, like that is really specific. Resumes and press releases are super specific. I do not do that. So I referred them to Jen, and if Jen can't do the work, that's not my problem, right? I just figure like either she's gonna do it or she's gonna say, oh, I don't have the time right now. But someone's like, I expect it to just keep going, like pay it forward.
Yeah, but I guess
I haven't had anybody ever come back to me going, well, you told me to go to so-and-so, and they were too busy. I'm worried about. That's never happened to me. And like I've been referring people probably for 10 years, because for a long time I didn't do side work, remember?
Right.
Like I didn't do any side work, so I referred everybody all the time. I never had anybody coming back to me saying, so-and-so is too busy. I've had one person come back to me and go, I don't sync with that person. Please, 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 please do my work. But he was kind of a douchebag, and I didn't want to do his work, and I didn't want her doing the work, so I just ignored him.
Right.
And I used that term like on purpose. It was really that bad. Like he was a horrible, terrible person. So the thing is, like, that's never happened. But if it does, I figure like, to me, being resourceful is part of my brand. It's part of what makes you a valuable person. Like when I'm tweeting and I'm saying, oh, I'm 82% of my clients, I got room for maybe one or two more. People see that they're going to strike while the iron's hot, right? Right. So, and we know too that clients ebb and flow. Like they'll try something, oh, they run out of budget, whatever. So I haven't had anybody, I guess,
like I've had people come back. That's the problem. Like you haven't had that happen, but I've had that happen where
never had that
happen. So you sent it over to this person, but like what I don't want to have happen is this like passing the buck thing where it turns into like 6 people down the line. And then the person finally lands on somebody who like, I don't know that person. It's so many 6 degrees of separation that I'm just like, I don't even know who that person is. And then they're like, I had a really horrible experience with so-and-so. And I'm like, who's so-and-so? They're like, well, you got referred to this person who referred me to this person who referred me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like all my friends are that busy? Like, what's going on here? Okay. Apparently I have busy friends. I don't understand.
They were a terrible client.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. I mean, if I said no, there may have been a reason why I said no, but I would almost never send somebody who's like, okay,
I don't pass on terrible clients.
No, I don't either. There's no way I would do that. But I don't, what I want to make sure of is that if I'm going to be the Angie's List of WordPress, that I want to make sure that at least when I hand them off to somebody, that person is willing and able to take on that work and do it.
Okay.
Without having to go through this whole thing.
For a long time, what I did before I started my business and before I started in tech and everything, I had a guru referral page. And I asked my friends, do you want to be listed on this page? And if anybody wanted to be, and so if anybody asked me, I go, I don't do that, but here's my website. And it was a list with like 7 people. And then they could pick whoever they want. Yep. But, the thing is that I'm not responsible for anybody beyond the person I referred. And I don't take that responsibility to heart. So, and that's the thing is like a lot of times people want something so specific, that a generalist like me doesn't do it or whatever, and like I won't do just ads on Facebook unless I'm doing your page. If I'm doing your page, then I'll do an ad. But there's but like to me, if I'm not managing, this is me. If I'm not managing the page, then I don't have an intuition for the audience. So I'm going to now pick an audience for you out of what? The blue sky. Now, some SEO nerd could do that maybe. I can't do that. I'm not going to, because I'm not going to be responsible for your ad dollars.
Right.
Like I will do it if I'm doing your page. I will not do it standalone. And that's what I've learned is I've learned that there's some things I will do together and some things I won't, do. In fact, that did backfire on me once because somebody asked me, oh, do you have a PPC expert? And I said, yeah, it's so-and-so. I'm like, oh, well, that's the person I fired.
Yeah.
Not my problem, right?
Right.
So you asked me who the expert is. I refer them to this person, and your relationship doesn't work out with them. It's not my problem.
But did you fire them or did they fire you on the, like, it's like,
I mean, there's it's the WordPress space is interesting, but in all business, it's very important to not burn bridges.
Yeah.
Because whatever industry it is, construction is the same way. Super small. And let me tell you, those guys are so gossipy, way more gossipy than hens. It's like it defies all sexism cliches or stereotypes that everybody always knew everything was happening all the time, right?
But it is okay to put police tape across the front of that bridge and just be like, don't go across that bridge. Like, let's let them stay. But I'm not going to refer anybody to that bridge.
Oh, yeah. I would reroute. I mean, just do a Waze on them. Reroute it.
Like, you're going down this alleyway. Sorry.
That you could go down that bridge, but I prefer to go 60 miles north and 80 miles east.
Right.
But if you want to go, I mean, that's the Ortega Highway for me. I would rather go down the 5, over the 76, and up the 15 than ever go on Ortega. Ortega is like a death wish. And I don't care how much road work they do it. For those listening that don't live in California, Highway 74, Ortega Highway, has a lot of accidents, a lot of motorcycles, and a lot of people driving way too fast. It's super dark. And there's always an accident. It always says, Ortega Highway closed at Candy Store or Antonio Parkway. So, I would rather go up the 5, over the 91, down the 15, or down the 5, over the... That's fine. Because everybody has their preference. And it's totally fine to have a preference.
Right.
But I wouldn't say, oh, yeah, I'm never going on the 74. And I wouldn't tell people who ride motorcycles, if you ride motorcycles, the 74 is the highway for you.
Well, and that's a good point though, because if
their personality style.
But I guess the thing is that when someone calls up for a reference, so they're trying to go get a job and they're using you as a reference, and then they ask you, they're like, hey, so when you and Bridget worked together, how did blah 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 happen? And I'm like, we never actually worked together. Why? Because maybe we're working in parallel spaces, so I've never had to hire Bridget to do a thing that I do myself. Bridget's probably not a good example here, but the idea is that is that I've never used this person as a client. I've used this or as a company that I hired, but rather I have interacted with this person as this, that, and another thing. It's really hard to ask somebody who's the expert, like, hey, expert, who other experts have you used to do this thing? And you're like, well, actually, I do it myself. So you never want to ask a mechanic who's a good mechanic because they're going to say it's me. That
they might not be doing BMWs.
Right.
They might specialize in Toyota, and that's fine.
But I never owned a Toyota, so I never had to go to that person and say, hey, can you work on my Toyota? So it makes it really difficult is what I'm saying, to ask the person like, hey, have you ever talked to this person about whatever? What I would normally go is like, well, let me look through their list of, clients that they've worked with. Oh yeah, this website did turn out pretty good. Let me read through the code a little bit. You know what? This is pretty sound. But then again,
that's why
I'm back to Angie's list again.
No, but that's why you have a portfolio.
Yeah.
Tell people, and I asked my clients. I said, "Can I list you on my clients page?"
Right.
Yep.
If
they want to ask my clients, they can ask my clients. I put some of my past clients on there. At a school district, it didn't work out. They hired inside. That's fine. Not everybody's styles are going to work well together, right? So, but as an HR thing, I will say this, because I learned a lot from Rasir. There's not a lot you can say about somebody that you had as an employee. So he would always say, ask me if I would hire them again.
Oh, wow.
That is the question you can answer. And they would say, would you hire Jane Doe again? No, I would not. Thank you for your time. You're welcome.
And that's it. No, there was no bad talk. There was no nothing. It was just like, that's it. Would you hire them again? Nope. Okay, cool.
Yeah. James in the chat is saying he's been helping with his local work camp and meetup for 10 years. He has stayed friends because he doesn't work local. And that helps. Like if you're not overlapping with, local people, that's, there's no like weirdness. So, I don't really have too many competitors. Like,
I had that problem. I mean, we had Ross on the show. Ross was my direct competitor. Ross is the guy I do our meetup with here in Whittier. And we both went to the Chamber of Commerce, and I was at the Chamber of Commerce like, man, this website really sucks. And then come to find out that Ross was redoing their website and they haven't launched it yet. And I was like, oh. And they're like, oh yeah, this guy is doing this thing and DigiCal, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I go look on DigiCal's website. Like, he's using WordPress. What the heck's up with that? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And so the thing is, like, you might not even want his clients.
Right.
They might be too high maintenance, which, like high touch. Like I remember one of my friends was like, if you don't fill out this form on my website, you're not going to be my client. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. People are going to want to talk on email and phone and whatever, but they're like, no, I'm not doing it. They're not my client because they're not going to fit in my workflow. Right. And that's what matters to them. Right. So that's why I think like all the people I've talked to, there's not that many competitors. And even I met the new girl at Give WP that's doing content. Her name is Taylor, lady, whatever. Sorry, I say girl. It's not meant to be mean. It's just I'm 45 and I'm stuck as a Gen Xer. Anyway, she is really sweet. And I see she's going to be in Seattle, so I'll get to see her again. But I just said, hey, and, the thing is, like, what matters to you the most? To me, what matters to me the most, it resonates with Bridget Willard, is that I care about mentoring people. And if everybody does well, we all do well. So that's why the burning bridges thing is not an effective strategy.
No.
Talk to me privately. I might have different things to say because I'm a human being and we all make mistakes, right? And we all have emotions and we all have to like process them, right? But the thing is, like when you cold call somebody, you're putting them in a defensive position. And I did that with Give. Like we were talking, blah, blah, blah. And I was writing for them. Matt had reached out to me. I was writing for WordPress. And then Jason Knill said, well, I'm looking for a social media person for Thought House. And I said, if you want a remote person, I'm your person. Right? It just came out. And of course, I worked for them for 2.5 years, or 3 if you count the contract work. So, and that's the thing, is like, sometimes you have to speak up for yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you. That's the thing. I don't have a manager or an agent who's like out looking for jobs. I don't have a personal headhunter looking for clients for me. Now, if you have a biz development person, then that's easy because then you can be good cop, bad cop, right? But if you're just you are your own business development person, which means you need to be saying on your social media profiles, LinkedIn and Twitter especially, that you are taking on clients. Who is your ideal client? If you see sometimes looking for jobs and type in WordPress developer or need a website and see the people that are writing that say, I would love to have a conversation about this. Maybe we can help each other out. That's way better than I'm a WordPress developer with a lowercase p and spelling mistakes, right? But when you do that, make sure that your website is ready for that. Meaning, do you have a portfolio or do you have clients listed? So I do have my clients listed. I have my prices published. Published pricing scares people, but here's the thing. It's not a piece of paper. It's not printed. It's a website. I can change it anytime I want. Okay? Right. And the thing is, published prices give you a place to talk. It gives you a starting point. It helps you manage expectations. So you don't want Twitter Pro at $1,200. What is your budget? Let's talk about it, right? Yeah. And if you give that perspective in your mind, like, oh shit, but like, why is it that high? or why is it that low? Because we used to be charging 2,000, so I'm undercutting. Like, you know, high, low, it's all relative, right? It's low if you're thinking about hiring an in-house person, because now you don't have to pay payroll taxes for me, because that's my problem, right? So like having that gives you a place to discuss. And so when you do your estimate with that cold call, just put estimate good for 30 days and move on with your life. If you want to give them custom discounting, like I know I'm the one that approached you, I really like, make it like, what can you do for them?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it is.
Price is just a starting place. You know,
it's like dating.
It's a bit of a bargaining chip a little bit.
I went to dinner with somebody. I wore a dress. I did the whole thing. Never said like, oh, wow, you look really beautiful today. It's not really that difficult. Or whatever. I like your dress or anything like that. So like just normal stuff that helps the relationship progress. So like you send that and you go, I really love your brand, R.D. Olson. I would like to be part of this awesome thing that you already built, right? You already built ACF. This is already awesome. Half of my friends, or 80% of them, are hashtag Team ACF. I have insight in that. I would love to help you build your brand, right? Tell them what you can do for them. It's what's important to them. And so if you make that kind of a like a plot twist, not like, oh, I do this and I am so awesome and I took CSS on free code camp. So did everybody. I took CSS. I'm passed on CSS on free code camp. I'm not going to build a website. That's the stupidest thing. Nobody cares. You can do that on your LinkedIn. That's fine. But have all those things in place for validation and discovery when you do it. And then pick places, not just be, what's the word? Discerning. Don't indiscriminately, like, well, I don't want, like, say if I don't want the guy down the street, the bait and tackle shop. I can't help you. What I'm good at and what makes me valuable is knowing construction and knowing WordPress. I just like as many WordPress clients as I can get, because that's what makes me valuable to them and for me. Because I'm immersed in the culture, right? Bait and tackle, for it doesn't matter. I live at Dana Point Harbor. I don't go fishing. I don't like fishing. It stinks. It smells. I don't know the culture. I don't know the lures. I don't know the seasons.
But there is a Bridget out there that does social media that also does fishing. Lives, breathes, everything fishing. That's the one you're supposed to hire for that.
And if you're into that, if you're into yoga, but you're a social media person, that's who you want. You want the yoga studios. You want your passions to align with your clients. That's the synergy. I hate that word, but it's true. Like that alignment of your passion and theirs, right? Like my friend Amanda Gorman is a yogi. So she does work with Give right now, but she is a co-owner of a yoga studio, right? So she would be bitching for helping yoga studios grow on Instagram and blogging and elsewhere. The ones in Dana Point aren't in her area. They're not competitors, right? Only Rochester is where she is. But she could have an entire industry. Travel. I don't do travel. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what are you passionate about? Don't just cold call everybody. Cold call for your ideal client. And to find out your ideal client, the last 2 minutes of this segment, you have to be self-aware.
Yeah. You do. You do need to be self-aware.
That requires counseling and brainstorming with your friends.
Yeah, you need to find a Jen Miller and you need to find a Bridget Willard, and you need to send them text messages at odd hours of the day and night asking, what am I doing? This is awful, blah, 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 blah. And we all laugh at you and go, fine, look, here's what you need to do. Give this a shot.
But that's the WordPress way, right?
That's the WordPress way.
You use your friends and we use each other and we brainstorm off of each other in order to make each other better. That's what makes WordPress so different. We mentor each other.
And you said this, but I don't know if you totally 100% touched on it, but that vulnerability is a huge part of this. Like if you don't tell those you know, like for me, those Jen Millers, those Bridget Willards, the whole 9 yards of everything that's going on regarding this thing, you're just telling them this little sliver of what's going on. And they just go like, well, you're overreacting, when they don't know the whole story. So like, yeah, find those like peer counselors and just be like, hey, what the heck am I doing wrong? And they're like, you got to give me more information.
I
Like,
do that. I'm like, hey, I'm
this stuff.
overdrawn. And then like, let's figure out another strategy for you, you know? Then that's happened. It's real life. We all have real life. And so those referrals and those peer counseling helps you better with your cold calling, because you want your cold calling to be relevant. Make sure it's your client, your ideal client. Make sure you do it in a way that helps them, that lets them say no. And make sure your website is ready for them to check you out. Those are the 4 tips.
I agree. Look at the time. It's 7:45. We're going to talk a little bit about tool or tip of the week. I'm going to start, Bridget, because mine totally relates to the type of stuff we're talking about here. So it relates in the fact that when you're up at night and you're crying about whatever it is that you're working on, and you're staring at your monitor. If you do this is what I do. You're staring at your monitor. You're on a Mac. Hopefully you're on a Mac. If you're on a Windows computer, there's other ways to do this as well. Yeah. I mean, you know, everyone makes good choices in life, and most of them are Mac people. But because of this, and especially if you're using a brand spanking new computer or a new enough computer that you can run OS 10.14 Mojave, there's a really great little application that I've been using, especially when I've been working on projects late at night. So Mojave is the latest and greatest operating system. It just came out for the Mac, and they came out with some really cool stuff. And so, for instance, if you're on a Mac right now, you can try this just to play around with it. If you go and click on the Apple menu in the upper right-hand corner, and then you go over to the word General, inside General, you'll see a thing at the very top of it that says Appearance, and you have light mode and you have dark mode. Now, dark mode is awesome. So light mode during the day is great because you're like, wow, I can see everything. It's great. Now, you guys can't see this, but offset here, you know, I'm in this very high-end, obviously, it's very high-end studio here. Offset here is a bed. And typically what happens is my wife's sleeping and it's late at night and all the studio lights turn off. And then I have all the little windows around everything on my computer are white, and they're just shooting out of those monitors, just lighting up the whole room. It's awful. So what they did is they came out with this thing called dark mode. Now, dark mode's cool. It's no problem. You click on the Apple menu, you go to General, and then you click on Appearance and hit dark. And guess what? Everything turns dark, which makes all the windows, the little menu bar on the top dark, all that fun stuff. So you're like, that's great, Jason. I can totally do that myself. I don't like doing things myself. I like having other things do this for me. So somebody totally beat me to it. Not that I was going to build this myself, but I would have totally paid somebody $5 to build this thing. And this thing's called night mode, or night owl rather. And so if you go to the website, it's nightowl.cramzer.xyz. We'll have it in the show notes. Trust me. What you do is you download this thing and install it. And what it does is it automatically toggles night mode when it's nighttime and day mode when it's daytime.
Oh, okay.
And you don't have to do anything extra. And it looks at either the time, so you can set the schedule of what time it happens, or if you live in California and we're hoping that we're voting on the fact that we want to get rid of daylight saving time, you can also turn it on via sunrise and sunset. So you can just click that little button, and then on sunrise and sunset, it'll automatically switch it from night mode to day mode.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Wait, we're voting on daytime?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's one of the propositions.
I guess I should look at this.
If I remember correctly, it's Prop 7. You should definitely push.
I should probably look at this giant book. This is what you're missing by not being part of California.
Go, if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, go click on the link that I put in.
California gives us a shit ton of work. So you think we got it made here? The beach comes with a cost.
Right.
I literally asked a guy. I go, "You want to do a voting study guide session like for our next date?" You know,
check you out.
I know, right? Well, I mean, seriously, this is huge. This is like a college course book,
Sure
you guys. It's 95 pages. Okay, so my tip of the week, because I have been doing Instagram, is this thing called Union Metrics, and they have an Instagram checkup. I actually paid for it. It's like whatever a month. It's let's see, $49 a month.
Unionmetrics.com.
Unionmetrics.com. But the Instagram check is free. They have an Instagram account checkup that's free. And it's kind of cool because it'll tell you your top hashtag, your total posts, you know, when's the best time, how many times you posted this week or whatever like that. And to me, I like that it has a PDF report I can send to my client. And, you know it's $40 a month, but then it's an hour I don't have to spend doing something. And also, so like, you guys have been on the show for a while, know how I feel about data. It's lies, damn lies, and statistics, right? So data only tells you what happened. So the previous social media manager said, oh, the best times are Saturday and Sunday. Are the best times Saturday and Sunday because that's the only time you post it? Is Tuesday at noon the best time because that's the only time you posted? Because if that's the only data you give Instagram, then of course it's the best time, right? Well, turns out I've been really experimenting, and Thursday at 9 p.m. is the best time.
Huh? Really? Thursday at 9 p.m., huh?
Thursday at 9 p.m. So why is that? I don't know. But you have to keep trying different stuff, right?
Right.
And so Instagram itself gives you rolling analytics, just the last, on the app, on your phone, it'll give you the last 7 days. And so you can get content analytics by engagement or impressions. But as far as like website clicks and that stuff, you know, Jen, it's almost time to post. I know, right? But that's the thing, is like, so you analytics are just the past.
Yeah.
If you did the same thing and you're like, okay, well, Tuesdays at noon is the best time, then you just keep posting it Tuesday at noon. Guess what? Tuesday at noon is always going to be the best time because it's the only time you post.
Well, that's what's funny is
garbage in, garbage out.
No joke. Mine says your best time is Sunday at 11. Why? Because I'm usually at church at that time, and that's when I post at church.
That's when you post, and so that's like the only time you post. So,
but this is a little interesting because it says that my top hashtag is protest signs. I was in Washington D.C. and I was standing in front of the White House, and I posted a picture. And I used protest signs as one of the hashtags, and I got 19 whole likes. Check that out.
Yep. So I started doing this crazy thing. I asked my client, can I do little like graphics that have, you know, client statements on them? And client kudos received 39% more engagement than your average post. So guess what? I'm going to do more of those. So analytics tools are great. If you mix things up and test around, you can be super formal with your A/B testing or just intuitive, like, I wonder what would happen if we did this. And just see. And if your clients will let you, and I asked her, I go, you know, I love all that you have on Yelp. Can we repurpose it on Instagram as something pretty, you know? And she said yes. And so it's working. That's, you know, awesome. Instagram's tough because it requires original content. So you have to get a little trickier. It doesn't allow, the culture and the terms of service don't allow for sharing.
Right.
So,
if you were a restaurant and the restaurateur is looking at like, oh, this person says that our steaks are great. You should go grab your camera, or your phone, go over there, take a picture of the steak, and then post, this is a great steak. You should go check it out. So-and-so said it's a great steak as well. Boom. Right. There's their thing on Yelp. Good to go.
You know, one of the cool things that happened on Instagram, since we're on this tiny tangent, I was at a concert. I guess it's a concert. It was a Eric Clapton band called the Clapton Road. And so Julie and I took a picture, a selfie at Stillwater, and we said, oh, we're here to see Clapton Road. We tagged them in the post. One of the singers came on during the break and gave me a little keychain that's a bottle opener. It says Clapton Road. She said, thanks for posting. So that is a really great way to reward people, especially if you're at live events, right? Now, I wouldn't think of that, because I don't do retail.
Yeah.
I do business to business. But
right.
but at conferences, who's our audience? WordCamp people.
Mm-hmm.
You can randomly reward people with swag. She said to me, "Are you Bridget?" Because I look like the picture on my Instagram. And I said, "Yeah." She goes,
How novel.
"Thanks for posting." And she gave me this keychain. It says Clapton Road on it. And then Julie's like, "I want one." I go, "You got to post on Instagram." She goes, "I'm going to do it right now." She got super competitive about it. That's why it works. Right? So for us, our crowd could definitely do that. And then you try it. Then when you use even the free version of Union Metrics Instagram Checker, you can see if it works, you know. And you can do it in the dark with nightowl.kamikaze.com or whatever, Krams or KRAMSER.xyz.
Yeah, I always buy XYZ as like a throwaway domain.
Oh, is that yours? Did you build that?
No. Oh. But I always buy like a .xyz as like a throwaway domain because they're super duper cheap, and if they lapse, whatever.
Oh, Amy says, "I got a mushroom and my granddaughter and I made our fairy garden because I posted on Facebook and tagged the page." How cool is that?
That's super awesome.
It feels, because you know why? It goes back to us wanting to feel like we belong.
Right. Yeah, and you're wanting to find people that want to feel like they belong. So that's the social media person that's going like, "Oh my gosh, this person posted a thing about us." It's like when, like, you know, you talk about you just took your car through a car wash, and then all the local car washes start like following you on Instagram, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, dude, like I just took a picture of like the soap on my windshield."
Okay, that's what not to do, because since we have 4 minutes left, I'll tell you what not to do. I travel more than I used to. I would say a lot, except I've met people who actually travel a lot. But so like I'm at, you know, I went to this place in Raleigh, and so I, you know, tag them, and all of a sudden I have all these people from Raleigh following me. I go to Ottawa, I have all these people from. I'm not going to go to the gym in Ottawa. I was there for 1 weekend, people. Like, look at my profile. It says Dana Point, California.
Right.
Like, I don't live in Ottawa, Canada. It happened everywhere. Belgrade, I have tattoo artists in Belgrade following me. Okay? So, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then I get DMs saying, "Oh, I'm going to go buy a ticket to Belgrade to go get a tattoo." Maybe, but I pretty much doubt it. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the situational awareness that you need when you're cold calling, even on Instagram. Instagram is like, I used to make a joke, say, when I feel lonely, I just talk to my Instagram spammers. There's so many of them. It makes Twitter look like never.
I guess to give it to, you know, since we do have 2 more minutes left, if you are doing something like that, the best way to do it, to kind of give you another side of the coin here, is that if you find somebody, you're a person that runs a restaurant, and you find somebody who posts a picture about your food, and then you see somebody else, or you're another restaurant and you see the first person post at a restaurant, and you look in their Instagram, you're like, wow, this person posts a lot on Instagram for all these different food places. This person's a foodie. Check that out. Yeah, follow them. Tell them, hey, you should come take a look at our stuff. It's great. Don't leave as a comment on your competitor's post. That would be really lame. But definitely try to bring people in that way. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Like, there's totally nothing wrong with that. That's why I said, be helpful, be polite, and be relevant.
Yep. That's like our tagline now. That's pretty awesome.
Helpful, polite, and relevant.
Right.
Brought to you this week by WPblab. If you had sponsored this episode, you would have had your tagline repeated again here, but you didn't. Go to WPwatercooler.com/sponsor to find out more about how you can do it with fast PayPal cash. I think it's $40, but you'll have to check because it's the internet. We might change our prices, and if you're watching this a year from now, it might be even higher.
We're like Kohl's, but on the internet.
Right. So follow Jason Tucker, jasontucker.pro, Jason Tucker on Instagram, Jason Tucker on Twitter, and go like things. If you don't like the show, click the thumbs up twice. If you do like it, then subscribe. Get the notifications. Share all over the place, because we're awesome and we love you and you're our friends. And we'd love to know what your thoughts are about cold calling. So send us a tweet to WPblab, or you can spam Jason Tucker on Twitter, or you too can be guru, not a guru, because that's 16 characters. And thank you very much. I just hijacked Jason's closing. We love you guys. WPwatercooler.com. Love us.
Awkward silence from Jason. Bye.